Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, a study ranks public transportation in Metro Manila as among the worst in the world. The Ninoy Aquino International Airport also included in the list of the most stressful air transport hubs. And despite potential budget cuts, what are the priority programs of the Transportation Department? Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista joins us in the program. The Ninoy Aquino International Airport, listed as among the most stressful airports in Asia and Oceania. Results were based on data collected by travel blog Hawaiian Islands. It analyzed reviews for over 500 airports around the world, specifically the travelers' sentiments based on stress indicator percentages. What are the plans of the government to improve services as the demand for travel continues to grow with the easing of COVID-19 restrictions? Let's go straight to the source of this story. We have Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista. Secretary Bautista, it's good to finally have you, sir. Welcome to the source.
Thank you, Pinky. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, unfortunately, sir, I'm going to have to start with not very pleasant news. As I mentioned a while ago, NAIA listed as the third most stressful airport in Asia and Oceania. And we're going to talk about the transport sector in a while. So the first one among the most stressful airports is Vietnam's Tan Son Nhat Airport. And the second is Sydney Kingsford Smith International Airport. First, sir, your reaction that we are the third most stressful airport in Asia and Oceania.
Well, Pinky, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to this interview and for us to be able to share our plans and programs for the Department of Transportation. Regarding this report that Manila International Airport is the third most stressful airport in Asia and Oceania, we take this as a challenge. We welcome comments, suggestions, recommendations, and even criticisms, because this is the way for us to be able to know what the passengers are feeling, what they need, so that we can address this more. I understand that this report was based on data collected in May and July. But since we have taken over the management and operations of the airport, we have introduced some reforms for the passengers to be able to enjoy their travel experience in Manila International Airport. The General Manager of Manila International Airport, Mr. Cesar Chong, who has 35 years of experience in airline and aviation and airport, has implemented some reforms so that we can make the travel experience of our passengers better. Also, for this coming Christmas, we have reorganized and scheduled some changes in terminal assignments, Pinky. For example, in Terminal 4, where AirAsia and Cebu Pacific operates their small airplanes, we are transferring some of the flights to Terminal 3. Because, Terminal 4, there are only like a little over 500 seats. And when there is a delay of 2 or 3 flights, there's really congestions. So we are transferring some flights of AirAsia from Terminal 4 to Terminal 3. Starting December 1, we are transferring the U.S. operations of Philippine Airlines from Terminal 2 to Terminal 1. Because Terminal 1 has unused capacity. No? This will improve the experience of the passengers, as Terminal 2 has been very congested. No? So these are some of the projects that we will implement this coming December, Pinky.
Right. Secretary, in fact, we were reporting about the travel or the flight reassignments, no, to the public as well, PAL flights, some from the U.S., Bali as well, will be moved to another terminal. There was a report also yesterday by our correspondent looking into how the flow of passengers coming into the airport will be improved. And apparently, they will pilot test the removal of the initial security check at the airport entrance. What do you say to this, Secretary? Because hindi ho ba when we enter the airport, check po muna yung bagahe natin once we enter, and then again during when you actually reach the check-in counter.
Yes, it has been a finding by the Transport Security Administration of the U.S. that the Philippines is not able to implement the right security measures. No? So we have worked closely with TSA. No? They conducted a check on present practices. No? And during that examination conducted by TSA, we were informed that they are happy with what we have implemented in terms of security checks. No? Admittedly, there are so many checks now that we undergo. But what we plan to do is to reduce these checks. Now, right now, there are 4 checks, no, for passengers going to the U.S. No? The first check is when you enter the gate. There's an X-ray machine there. And then the second is when you check in, there is a check conducted by guards for explosives and other possible dangerous goods. No? And the third check is right after immigration. No? And the fourth check is before you board the airplane. No? So there are 4 checks if you go to the U.S. No? What we plan to do when we transfer the flight to Terminal 1 is to reduce this at least by 1.
Okay.
In the meantime, we will not be able to reduce by 2, but the plan is to reduce it by 1. And if the TSA will be happy with the result of this test, we can reduce it to 2.
I see. All right. Other programs that you can share with us in the short term to make passengers stay in the airports a little better?
Well, we have implemented some cleanup of the airport. We see to it that all the comfort rooms are clean. No? We see to it that there are available chairs and seats so that when there are delays, the passengers have places to stay comfortably. No? We are also reviewing the availability of concessionaires, good concessionaires. No? Also, there was a blog that says that in the airport, especially in Terminal 2, the concessionaires only accept cash. No?
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
We are working.
I saw that, Secretary. Pagod na daw siya. I think from Papua New Guinea, dumating po siya sa Terminal 2. He wanted to eat. And he went to various places, and it only said cash only. And strangely enough, he said that the only one that accepted credit cards was the one selling liquor.
No, we are working with the concessionaires to have the facility to accept credit cards or other modes of payment. No? So we also are talking to the airlines, no? for them to convince their passengers to have the cards that are available that are accepted in the airports. No, for example, GCash. No, for Filipinos, there's available PayMaya system. No, and of course the credit cards that are regularly used by the passengers. No? So we'll work closely with the concessionaire that passengers can purchase their products using not only cash but other modes of payments.
Secretary Bautista, we need to take a very short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista. Secretary, another unpleasant news. Public transportation among the worst according to Urban Mobility Readiness Index. We actually rank 58 out of 60 countries worldwide as the worst in mobility readiness. There's so much to talk about, sir, buses and trains. But on a general, siguro, general question, these factors include waiting time, affordability, and speed. Among these, which can be improved in the short term?
Well, there are some areas that we can improve. No? One is the EDSA busway. No? This Libreng Sakay, we can improve this by adding more bus stops. No? For example, in the last 2 months, we were able to add 3 new bus stops for the EDSA busway. There's one in Taft Avenue. There's one along Rojas Boulevard. And the latest is our arrangement with the Ayala Corporation for them to allow us to use their newest facility along EDSA and Ayala Avenue. No? This facility of the Ayala Group has allowed passengers to board and alight on buses inside their terminal facility, which will make our passengers more comfortable. They are protected from rains, protected from heat, no?
Yeah.
And we are still planning to add more bus stops, no, in coordination and with the cooperation and support of some private companies. No?
How many would these be, the additional stops?
We're looking at 3 more stops. SM Mall of Asia and the SM Group is helping us and they are willing to support the funding of some of these bus stops.
I see.
But in addition to that, we are planning to work with the private sector for them to operate this busway system. No? We will invite them to do operations and maintenance, and this will make the busway more efficient. No? So we are preparing the terms of reference. No? We're preparing actually a feasibility study for the privatization of this busway. No? So we're working with the PPP Center for them to be able to help us finalize the study and complete the terms of reference for the privatization of the EDSA busway.
And Secretary, sorry for interrupting. When do you think this will actually happen, the privatization? Because I actually wanted to go there. I do remember in the past that it was the Management Association of the Philippines, I believe, who was proposing to actually privatize this EDSA busway on a hybrid mode. So is this still a hybrid mode? Because you were saying that operations and maintenance will be provided by a private institution or company?
Yes, that's the plan. No? what we can do is the private sector can invite the operators to become stockholders of a new corporation. So it will be operated as a private company. Uh, they should be able to do the right management, right governance of the company. They can increase efficiency of the operations and make it profitable. No? Because if all the stakeholders cooperate, there will be efficiency in the operations.
Yeah.
So instead of every one bus operator competes with each other, it will be one group operating as one. And with that, they may still be able to offer cheaper fares for the benefit of the commuters.
Okay, because I guess, Secretary, that would be one of the concerns possibly of the commuters, that there might be an increase in fares. Maybe just a timeline. When do you think that this will actually happen, the privatization of the EDSA busway on a hybrid setup?
We're hoping that we should be able to implement this next year. No? The feasibility study should be finished within the year, and then we will invite private sectors to do the bidding, or what they can do is offer an unsolicited proposal, no? And the government can evaluate this proposal and implement the privatization. It's quite a long process, because if it's an unsolicited proposal, when the government approves it, there is what you call a Swiss challenge, no? Which another group can offer or challenge the proposal, although the original proponent can match the proposal of whoever will challenge their proposal. No?
Yeah,
So maybe it will take around 6 months for the process to be implemented.
I see. Secretary, a bit of good news for the commuters, the EDSA busway. I remember reporting this, that the 24/7 Libreng Sakay at the EDSA bus carousel, initially it was supposed to take effect December 15, but I believe it's going to begin on December 1. Please confirm, sir.
Yes, initially we announced that we will provide Libreng Sakay December 15 to 31. But when we reviewed our existing budget, and in coordination with the LTFRB, or the Land Transportation Regulatory and Franchising Board, we found out that we still have available budget, no? To extend the Libreng Sakay from December 1 to December 31, 24/7. No? Because the Libreng Sakay right now is only from 4 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the evening. No? Although the buses operate from 11 in the evening to 4 in the morning, passengers have to pay based on approved fare backs. No? But since we have enough budget to support the Libreng Sakay 24/7, we decided to extend it for the whole month, no?
And
December
so-
1 to December 30.
And so is the next question, is there a possibility to extend this Libreng Sakay next year? Understandably, as you mentioned a while ago, this ends on December 31, 2022. Do you plan to appeal to the Department of Budget and Management, if you could, or even to the President, to extend this, because this has been a big help to a lot of the commuters?
Pinky, there is no budget for Libreng Sakay, which was presented to Congress, no? As part of the National Expenditure Program. there are many lawmakers who are uh, this is a very good project, no? And that it should be continued, no? But it's really up to Congress if they will allocate this budget to the OTR. No? But as far as what has been submitted by the Department of Budget and Management to Congress, no, which we call the National Expenditure Program, there is no budget for this. No? But I hope that the Senate and the lower house will allocate a certain amount, no? So that we can continue this very good project of the
Yeah.
Department of
Meron pa
Transportation.
pong pag-asa. This is up to Congress right now. I have 2 minutes left, Secretary.
Sana
I know
po.
I know you have to go, no? Let's talk about the MRT. There are talks. Will this be privatized as well? I saw a report wherein you said that that doesn't seem to be plausible because there might not be any takers for privatization of the MRT. Please update us on that. And isasabay ko na rin po that a number of the trains have actually been overhauled. I think there's only 2 or 3 left. Please go ahead, Secretary.
On the privatization of the trains, no, right now, LRT1 is operated by the private sector. No? This is the Ayala and the MVP group together with Sumitomo. But the arrangement is for them to do the operations maintenance, no, of LRT1. So they have not, they are investing in some infrastructure project, no? But the main structure has been there, funded by the government, no? Because this started 40 years ago. So there's not much liability on the part of the government. So the private sector is operating this on a concession agreement. No? And this makes the operations more efficient. No? So this is on LRT1. No? There is another MRT7, which is undergoing construction right now. This is privatized and being funded by government and San Miguel Corporation. No? And hopefully, this will operate in 2025. No? It will operate from San Jose del Monte to North Avenue in Quezon City. So this is one privatization of the train that we are implementing. No? And another possible privatization is the operations of MRT3. You know, MRT3 is now on a build, lease, and transfer arrangement. No? In 2025, the build lease arrangement will end, and this infrastructure will be totally owned by the government. No? So the government can offer this to the private sector for operations and maintenance, just like what we have offered to LRT1 operations. No? LRT2, which is also operated by the government, can also be offered for operation of the private sector. No?
Okay.
So these are the possible PPP projects for the operations of our light rail transit.
I wish we had more time, Secretary, but I know you have to go. I also wanted to ask you about the state of the Filipino seafarers, the evaluation of the European Maritime Safety Agency, or EMSA, but I know you have to go, sir. So a promise is a promise.
Well, I can stay for another few minutes.
Go ahead, sir. If you could,
Pinky.
even for just 1 minute, kamusta po yung evaluation? That's supposed to happen in, if I'm not mistaken, in November or December.
Ganito yan, Pinky, no? The European Maritime Safety Agency conducted an audit of the system here in the Philippines in terms of what you call standards for training, certification, and what's keeping for our seafarers. No? They have some observations and findings. So there are like 23 grievances. They call these grievances, no? Which the Philippine government has already addressed in terms of submissions of plans and programs. No? This was submitted to EMSA in March of 2022, no? Because the audit was conducted in 2020. So we have talked to the European Maritime Safety Agency, and they told us that they are evaluating the response of the Philippine government, no? But the present government has started implementing the action plans that were presented to EMSA, no?
Okay.
And what we do is we give an update of what's happening, no? How we are able to implement the plans and programs, no?
All right.
But I would just like to emphasize that we did not fail the audit, no?
Yes.
There were findings, there were recommendations, no? And it's really up to us to implement this, no? And hopefully we will be able to show to EMSA that the Philippine government has addressed most of these issues, no?
Opo.
There are really some deficiencies in our system, no? But this is what we are trying to fix, no? I have talked personally to some officers of EMSA, and they are very happy that the highest officer of the country, the President of the Philippines, is committed to address all these problems. This issue we have talked about 4 times already in the cabinet, no? And that shows how serious our president is in
Right.
resolving this problem. No?
Right. Okay.
And we in the Department of Transportation and
Yeah.
the maritime industry are really working hard to see to it that we comply with the standards.
Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Pinky.
And we will be taking a short break. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.